police in the morning.
Welcome, B-Movie fans, to another B-Movie interview. I'm Paul.
And I'm Corey.
And joining us today are the stars of the upcoming film In Memory Of, Jackie Kelly and Jason Christ, by Wicked Pixel Cinema. Jackie, Jason, welcome to our show.
Thanks for having us.
Good to be here, thank you.
Oh, glad to have you on.
So, what first inspired you guys to get involved in filmmaking?
You want to tackle that first?
I could try it. I've always been an actor. I started out doing live theater when I was around 12 or 13, but my love of film really began when I was a teenager, and I was just like a horror fiend, and my dad got me into, Evil Dead 2 and all that good stuff, and the obsession got a little out of control, and that's kind of all I did growing up was watch horror movies. And just within the past couple years, I've been involving myself in as many film projects as possible. I actually went to film school and got a degree in screenwriting. So yeah, it's always been a big part of my life. I think I made my first film when I was about 5 years old. I made it with my brother and my cousin, and it was called The Headless Idiot, which was inspired by the Blair Witch Project trailer. So it's always been simmering.
I think I have a little bit more of a 90s Tarantino kind of backstory. My parents actually had, when I was in fourth grade, they opened up a video store back when mom and pop video stores were just starting to open up. So growing up in a small town, this is all pre-internet stuff, so I just got exposed to all these movies, and of course I was always attracted to the horror movies because they always had the cooler covers. Of course, I knew I was watching a bunch of stuff I wasn't really supposed to see, so that just kind of drew me into loving movies. And then, just out of weird coincidence, I heard of other people that were actually making films in my neck of the woods, and that turned out to be Eric, who was making some of his earliest movies. So I just had the good fortune of hooking up with him, and I've been doing it with these guys ever since. It's been over 20 some odd years for me.
So both of you have worked several different aspects of the filmmaking industry, such as acting, directing, and writing. But what would you say is your favorite part of making a film?
Well, for me, I think probably the most favorite part is the actual creation of it, because there are no limits, there are no boundaries yet. You can be as creative as you want to be as far as developing a story. It's not until the actual production side of it where things start, you have to start looking at things in a more realistic way, and compromises are usually always on the menu. So, I actually enjoy all three, and of course the editing, seeing it all come together, that's what is, for me, the most magical part of the whole thing. Just all these ideas and things you've been working on for so long actually coming together to form a narrative is just a feeling I just can't really describe. I mean, people that have actually made movies will obviously understand that, but it's just I've been addicted to that. And but I don't know, I kind of lean more towards the pre-production, the writing, the more creative from the outset. But I like pretty much every aspect of production, because I don't know, I guess the more you do, because when you're working on our budget level, we tend to do, like you mentioned, we work in various capacities on the film, and the more you do of one thing kind of helps you on other aspects of filmmaking. So focusing on writing really helps me learn as an actor, and or as an editor or a director. It's as I do all these movies, it's just I've been noticing that I've been developing in all the areas, is because I've been doing all various types of production duties. So.
Yeah, like Jason said, on this budget level, we're all wearing multiple hats, and you do figure out a lot about yourself on the set, what you like, what you don't like so much. I I have most of my experience as a writer and as an actor. It's hard for me to say what I enjoy more. I enjoy them both equally, just for very different reasons. Like, I think being on set there's nowhere else on the planet that I'd rather be than on set. There's just so much energy and camaraderie, and it's especially on a Wicked Pixel set. There's just like this beautiful camaraderie that it really sums up
family-oriented
sums up
type
the
of
whole
atmosphere.
experience of making in memory of. But the writing side, it was really a wonderful experience writing with Jason and Eric Stanze, because I came in like fresh blood, like I was the new guy. I was in school. I was super nervous. I'd been seeing these guys' movies for several years. I didn't even realize that they were in St. Louis, which is the town that I was in at the time. I became an intern on the set, and quickly they were like, "Nope, you're going to write with us," and that was really thrilling. But I was horrified that my ideas were going to suck, or they were going to, I'm the amateur here, so I'm like, should I be afraid to say something? Like, what if my idea is terrible? But it was just such an open, accepting environment, and there was no judgment, and we all worked together so well, and I could not believe that we didn't like tear each other's heads off at all. We were all like very civil the whole time. It was great. You've got three creative people. You'd think there's going to be some kind of clashing somewhere, and it just didn't happen. But I mean, that was
That's
really
indicative of the entire making of the memory of it. Is probably one of the best movie making. Well, it is, the best movie making experience I've had to date so far. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, same.
Very cool. It's like all the different aspects of filmmaking has kind of come together. So it's like none is more important than the other, but it's just kind of an experience as a whole. So could you guys tell us a little bit about in memory of what's the general plot and idea behind the film?
It's kind of like an experimental horror film with a dash of science fiction, I would say, and it's about a young woman who, after being diagnosed with a rare brain disorder that affects her memory, she embarks on a cross-country journey to end her madness and restore her memories.
Could you tell us a bit about your characters in this film? What are their personalities like, and just give us a few interesting qualities about them?
Well, I play a character named Amber, who's just really kind of down on her luck. She's got this scumbag boyfriend who treats her like garbage. She's got a crappy job. Things aren't really looking good for her. And she's just kind of this hardened shell of a human when we first get to know her. But as the film progresses, like, she's got this like burning inner strength and just so much emotion. And it was a really fun and challenging part for me to play. I mean, it was really an intense role. Very, very emotional, and it was very tiring, but in the best, most rewarding way possible.
Well, I play a character named Simon, and what's really cool about the part is that there's so many different facets of the character throughout the film, most of which I really can't talk too much about because that would really give away a lot of the story, but a facet of who Simon is he's a scientist of sorts who is trying to conduct research to stop this brain disorder that's kind of taking this, causing a lot of devastation in a rapidly accelerated rate, to which people are, just society in general just can't really come to terms with it. Its effects are happening at such an accelerated rate that it's just the I don't know how really to verbalize this, is we can't get ahead of this disease that's currently ravaging the country. So I'm heading a secret group that's trying to conduct this experiment to try to get to the bottom of this before it's completely out of our hands. And that's what really sets everything in motion between my character and Jackie's character of Amber.
Sounds like a really interesting plot overall. And
yeah, I mean, I mean, one of the things that really, I mean, it's about memories, which is a core thing to our identities. And for me, the hook of the movie was that the brain disorder is actually kind of an accelerated, mutated form of Alzheimer's. And that's something that I've had, unfortunately, in my family. And I know that that would be something that would be very relatable
For a lot of people.
for a lot of people, because your identity, I mean, when you think about, I mean, just to get to the basics of it, when you're writing a horror movie, you really not only want to write what you know, but you want to write what scares you. And what scares me the most is losing my identity to something like dementia or Alzheimer's.
Just anything you can't control.
Yeah, because I mean that would just be losing the fundamental aspects of who you are as a human being. So yeah, that really was the kind of the catalyst for getting this project started. Really.
Interesting. It's kind of like a more existential kind of horror rather than like a supernatural kind of thing.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
there's some supernatural elements that you could see,
But not in the way that you'd
but
expect.
no, it's totally based in kind of a scientific reality that is created for the film. It all is an offshoot of a form of reality. There is no real tried and true supernatural elements like in a lot of our movies. So that's another exciting aspect of this film, is that it's just kind of a real departure from anything we've ever done in the past, which we try to do with every one of our movies. I think if you look at all of our movies, none of them are I mean, they're all very much their own thing, their own entity. Even the Savage Harvest movies, even though we had a sequel to Savage Harvest, the second film is very much different from the first film. So this was really in keeping with our mantra at Wicked Pixel Cinema, is to, whenever we do a film, it's going to be something really completely different than what you've seen before.
Very cool.
And the personal aspect of the film is what really hits it home for me, and it just makes it all the more exciting that the film came together the way it did. The people that came together to make the film, it's just it was just a really humbling, exhilarating experience.
Such an amazing team of people.
Which, you know, when you're making a low budget movie, it can always be a struggle to make sure you got the people in place to make that happen. But it came together in a way that seemed almost too good to be true, too easy almost. But yeah, everyone that came together on this just really brought their A game to the table. So
And as you said that things, for the most part, went pretty well in filming this. Did you happen upon any kind of unexpected challenges when filming?
Well, there was one thing. I mean, pretty much I think it went really smoothly. I mean, we had a few hiccups towards the beginning of the shoot, which
Which I wasn't even there for.
Yeah.
So it's like the one day I wasn't there.
Yeah.
But
It's all your fault.
There was one, for me personally, the most stressful thing was we got a really old building downtown, which was a Studebaker showroom. It's like 100-year-old building. It's the most decrepit.
Yeah, that was rough.
It was an awful building. Of course, it's wonderful for making a horror film. It's like, yes, this is great. Oh, I love everything about it.
Run down and grimy.
For us to get permission to shoot there, we had to get insurance so that we could shoot there, and we had to get like $1 million worth of insurance. And the process of getting it was causing delays because we had a shooting schedule in place. We had actors coming in from out of town. They're only going to be here from this date to that date, and I didn't get that location secured until a couple days before we were scheduled to start shooting in that location. So that really, I lost a lot of weight and stressed out a lot doing that. But
and the building, it was like Jason said, it was a beautiful filming location, completely in line with what we had written.
and worth every.
Oh, yeah.
It was worth every. It was worth the effort to get it,
Yeah.
and it was worth the pain that it caused all of us to shoot in it.
And yeah, it was a little painful to shoot in it. It was
Yeah.
really, really cold, and
Yeah.
I just remember being
Probably one of-
drenched in fake blood for like 4 days straight, not able to put on a sweatshirt. And it
Well,
was,
and
it
plus
was rough.
the
Good times.
the building was kind of like a mausoleum in that it just refused to shed the cold that had
Yeah.
was trapped inside the building. So it could be 70 degrees outside, and then you walk inside, and it
It's a
was like
fridge. Yeah.
it was like shooting The Exorcist. We could see our breaths. You know, you could see your breath. It was
Yeah.
just- it was pretty
I just
fucking
remember-
unreal, but it lent itself to some pretty kick-ass
Oh,
performances,
yeah.
especially from Jackie. But everyone
Aw,
that
thank you.
well, yeah.
Aw.
But I mean, it was just from everyone that was shooting there. Just every shot was worth it, and it all just miraculously came together. And then the rest of the shoot, I thought it seemed like a vacation almost. It was
Yeah.
a breeze.
Yeah.
Because everybody was, all the actors, and there's a lot of actors in this movie that we haven't worked with before.
And they brought it.
And everyone was just so genuinely excited to be there and to be making the movie. And oh my God, man, you can't. It's just like, because I was one of the producers of the film, and you can't ask for anything more than that because everyone, no one's really getting paid anything to do this. This is truly a labor of love, and to have everyone in it to win it, shit, that's just a dream come true, man.
Yeah.
Really.
But speaking of the whole vacation aspect, one of the really, it wasn't a vacation, we were working very hard.
Oh,
But,
I just
Yeah.
refer to it
No.
because it was a lot easier
right.
than
But,
like a lot of our previous movies.
What one of the more interesting things about the shoot is that we actually, it is a road trip film, and we actually, myself and Jason and Eric actually took a cross-country road trip. We hit Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and Utah, and we just, shot along the way, and that was probably, I think it was like a 12-day shoot. It might have been the best 12 days of my entire life, actually. It was just so much fun. We saw so much cool stuff. We got so much good footage.
And it just added a whole new level to the movie than we ever could have, even when with all of our planning.
Yeah. Like some of these places we shot at were just like so awe-inspiring and beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
And just to be doing what we love to do in that atmosphere was just like this gift.
And the world, and that gift really helped us create a world that I think is going to knock people's socks off.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Sounds awesome. And you guys get plenty of stories to tell, even like just with making the film and all the stuff you guys got to see.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Are there any actors or actresses who you would say inspired your style of acting?
Well, I wouldn't say the characters much. Amber's not like her, but one of my favorite performances of all time is, I'm not just saying this because we have the same haircut, but Mia Farrow in Rosemary's Baby, and the way she uses her eyes, she's very good at using her eyes to convey an emotion, and that's how I like to perform. If I could cut out some dialogue that I don't think is necessary and just sell it with my eyes, that's the way I prefer to do it, and I have always been very inspired by the way she uses her face rather than her voice so much. So I'd say that she was definitely an influence for me in terms of playing this part and being kind of crazy and emotional and kind of a mess, What about you?
I don't really think that there's been an actor or performance that really informed me how to do that. I never really, I like just watching good performances, but I never once thought, I'm going to try to do something like that. I always kind of internalize and go off of instinct for this movie in particular. There was kind of this is a kind of an interesting story, I think. For the first time in my making movies, we actually had the luxury of instant video playback because we were shooting on HD for the first time. So that a lot of the actors, pretty much, I guess most of, if not all the other actors, would, if given the opportunity, like let's do a playback.
Oh
We can
yeah,
look at the
I was
performance
taking advantage
and
of that. But
see, if you make any changes or whatnot. But for some reason, I have not really seen a frame of footage from this movie. I wanted to intentionally keep myself cut off from seeing what I look like, seeing, how, I just kind of going off my gut instinct and how I'm thinking the character should be. And I guess we will see when the movie is finally all cut together whether or not that was a good choice. But it just felt right for, I guess, just for me. And I don't know if it's just particularly for this movie, but I've never had that option before, and I didn't want to change things up for this movie. I guess I'm not ready for that yet. So I just kind of keep myself closed off in this world of this character and go with it on what my instincts are. And of course, that's always informed with the people I'm acting against. And for this movie, it's primarily with Jackie. I have a couple other characters I interact with, but for the most part, I act against Jackie for pretty much my entire performance.
Now, if each of you could pick one actor or actress from history, dead, alive, whatever, to perform with, you think someone that that would compliment you or would just be really fun to work with, who would that be?
Jason Chris.
Aw. Jackie Kelly is my answer.
I don't know. I don't really think about that kind of stuff, to be totally honest. I work as an actor, but honestly, I'm way more inspired by writers and filmmakers than I am by other performers. I guess that makes me weird in a way because I don't have like this list of all these megastars I want to work with or that I aspire to be like, but I've always been more interested in ideas rather than performances, if that makes any sense. I don't know. I'm way more inspired by filmmakers and writers than I am actors.
Yeah, I think that's actually, now that you mention it, I tend to idolize directors. I really like other filmmakers and what they do more than me studying other actors. Because, David Cronenberg is one of my favorites, and he definitely was a big influence on this film. That's
very big, yeah.
Almost too much. We had to
we had to tone it down.
We had to tone it down because I was like geeking out on Cronenberg references. Like, gotta knock that shit off. But yeah, I think now that Jackie mentions it, I think for me, I tend to study filmmakers more than I do other actors doing their craft. I guess that's a weird way of doing it. But.
Well, yeah, because honestly, I've been acting for a very long time, for most of my life, but growing up when I was watching horror films, I never really watched them with the aspirations of being a performer in them. I love performing in movies. It's easily one of my favorite things to do, but I was always more interested in being a filmmaker, and to me that means I will act in this film, but I will also produce, and I will just wear as many hats as I need to be useful on a set or in pre-production or post, But I've always just more set out to be a filmmaker than an actor, and it just kind of happened that I've been acting quite a bit lately.
Yeah, that's been kind of my route too. I went to school for filmmaking. I actually directed one of the Wicked Pixel movies myself. I have always had an interest in actually filmmaking and directing and stuff like that, but I guess I just kind of, I also greatly enjoy acting, and lately it's just gotten to a point where that's been my primary focus right now. So.
But you don't identify solely as an actor.
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if I deserve that. The jury's still out on that one. I don't know.
Makes sense. It's kind of like when you watch, especially horror films, you're seeing inside the mind of the writer and the director. So that's probably like one of the most interesting things about it, the fact that somebody thought about it and then somebody else or even the same person managed to make that image into reality. So yeah, I can definitely see that being the most
See,
interesting part.
because of the various aspects of filmmaking that I focus on, as an actor, I keep that in mind. I'm very conscientious of what of acting within the frame and what the editor is going to be doing. So I try to keep my performance consistent for editing purposes. I just I don't know.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What qualities would you say make a film great? And could you give us some examples of films that you would consider great?
Well, I've always wanted to watch horror movies more than any other kinds of movies, but my definition of horror is kind of a loose way of putting it. I've always been drawn to very dark movies since I was much younger, and some of my favorite movies would be I'm a huge Harmony Korine fan, who is not a horror filmmaker, but his films are horrifying. They're unsettling. I like films that make me feel uncomfortable very much, but I'm also one of my other favorite films is Necromantic. I think that's a near perfect movie, and it's just art house horror at its finest. It doesn't get much better than that. But you could also sit me down in front of Reanimator, and I'll just have so much fun. And it's that's the best shit ever, So it's I have a very wide variety of influences, but they all typically fall within the realm of horror, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Well, I've always been drawn to horror films, and it hasn't been until later in life that I really started opening myself up to other types of films. And in the 90s, I really got on a Hal Hartley kick, he's this cool American indie filmmaker who was doing some really cool, quirky, comedic type of that had kind of a European sensibility to him. And yeah, I'm kind of all over the map myself. I like weird, quirky Japanese flicks. I like in your face, those some of the new French wave of intense horror films, Martyrs. I think is the French version, not the fucking American remake.
I didn't see that.
I like movies that push my boundaries in some way, and a lot of times I find that in horror, but I find that in various other films Irreversible. I thought that was a pretty intense film. That
that movie messed me up the first time I watched it.
And then just the definition of horror for me is kind of all over the map, because a lot of people look at horror in a very traditional way. It's got to have some kind of actual monster in it, a supernatural creature, when I think that a movie like The Sixth Sense or The Seven would also be could be classified as horror just because of the subject matter. But yeah, so I don't know. I always cringe when people ask me, "What's your favorite horror movies?" And it's oh god, I just like too many different kinds of films for me to. I can prattle off, some titles that.
But they might not see any correlation between any of the films you're rattling off.
Yeah. So it's really hard. Actually, it's genuinely hard for me to answer that question. I just love all kinds of movies. And I like that, because ultimately, at the end of the day, it always comes back to horror. So I use all those outside influences to horror filmmaking. I want to, because I love the genre a lot, and I think that it doesn't always get the respect that it deserves. So
absolutely not. And I think people have a very, very one-dimensional view of what horror is,
especially on our budget level.
Yeah.
Which is why I really am happy to be working with a group of people like Wicked Pixel Cinema, because regardless of how little or how much money we have, we're just going to be doing something creative and different with the horror genre, and not deliver on
cutter.
Well, just deliver on low budget or any kind of genre expectation. I like for each movie that we do to be it's a unique experience that you can honestly say that doesn't really remind me of anything else, you know. And that's what gives me a lot of pride with the movies that we make.
That's one of the great things about horror is since you are trying to scare the audience, you have to really understand like how people work, and that's why I've always thought it was such a diverse genre because so everybody's different, but you can kind of find certain similarities to how the mind works and how people think and feel, and you have to really just be in tune in that. So I've always been fascinated with horror just because it really is a study of the human mind in a lot of ways.
Well, it deals with a lot of basic primal components of who we are as human beings. You know, you're afraid of the dark, you're afraid of your own mortality, you're afraid of the unknown. And I mean, people like Wes Craven, who have always been on record saying that horror is a really great, safe way for us to explore those dark reaches of our collective existence.
It is the safest way, I think.
Yeah, and you know, it's like, I don't know, I guess maybe in a way you're kind of flirting with danger because you're opening up that Pandora's box and you're asking a lot of questions and thinking about things that aren't pleasant.
But it's healthy, I think.
I think it is healthy.
For me, I think it's healthy. I've been writing since I was a kid, and it was just a way for me to exercise my demons, you know. And that I know that sounds like kind of like cliche and like
because I'm a very
dark, brooding artist, but
yeah, I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Right.
So I don't. Exploring horror really has helped me just not only entertain my dark imagination, but face down a lot of some pretty substantial stuff that I guess if I didn't have an outlet would be pretty detrimental to me, you know, consuming. So, and I think, yeah, I mean, there's a place at the table for everyone. Horror is so, you know, it's like comedy. What makes people laugh and what scares people are going to be so wide and varied. So it's nice to be working in a genre where you can just have a lot of different voices, a lot of different perspectives, and telling stories.
And with Wicked Pixel, it's a really cool group of people because you watch. I mean, I'd been watching their movies long before I met them, and you know, it's some dark, depraved shit. And then you meet them, and it's just like a bunch of sweethearts, and like we all just love each other, and it's great. Like I think there definitely is a stigma when it comes to people who make horror films that, you know, they might be horrifying people, but that couldn't be further from the truth.
I've had lots of people that like were convinced that Eric was like some evil corrupter.
Yeah, right.
And anything bad that happened in my life is because of my association with those horror weirdos. But you know, it's, you know, weird is family.
Yeah.
I'm with the people I need to be with.
Now, on the other side of the films and everything, are there any films that you would say is a guilty pleasure for you?
Guilty pleasure movies? Oh, I've probably got a lot of them. I mean, it's probably not guilty pleasure, but I mean...
Well, trauma movies are definitely a guilty pleasure.
Oh, I don't think that's even a guilty pleasure.
Some of them are kind of guilty pleasures.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you know, every once in a while there's a movie that's like either some big budget thing that flops that I remember really enjoying Speed Racer, the live action Speed Racer. I just thought that was like, this is a fun movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I was high at the time, but I don't know. Whatever.
It's definitely me.
I absolutely love Mars Attacks.
Oh yeah, Mars
that's a
Attacks
good
is a great one too.
I know it's so terrible and just everything is wrong about it,
Yeah.
but it's so
much
fun.
fun.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm having a hard time coming up with any, honestly. I know I have a bunch, but
I don't know. I always had a pleasure of finding good things in movies that a lot of people would not even bother seeing. Trying to think of an example. Like I could actually I actually see some good performances or fun performances in Class of Nukem High, where most people would write it off as just some, you know, low budget schlocky, whatever.
As far as like big budget flops and stuff, I went and saw on opening day. I haven't seen how it's got done so far, but I can't imagine it did well. Was the Resident Evil: The Final Chapter?
Yeah,
I went and saw it opening day, and
I admit I've seen all of them.
There were 6 people in the theater, including myself. I was like, oh, I've seen every one of them in theaters, and I mean, some of them were good. Some of them, like, genuinely were good, and some of them were abysmal.
Yeah, I think everybody's happy that's all over and done with now. So,
What advice would you give to somebody trying to create their own independent film?
the only advice that I have is just to go out there and make it. Just go out there and do it.
Just don't be scared that it's not going to be good.
Well,
you know?
I mean, the technology is such that it's more readily accessible for people to get pretty high quality gear at a lower cost, and just to get out and actually shoot some movies, because that's the only way you're ever going to learn is by getting out there, screwing up, making mistakes, looking at those mistakes and learning from them. That's how you learn. Because I went to film school, and to be honest, it was nice to get the basics of the process of filmmaking. It's always good to know the quote-unquote rules before you break them. But I really felt that my experience with Wicked Pixels informed me.
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It got like eerily silent for a moment there.
Oh no.
Because you said your experience with Wicked Pixels, and then it just cut out.
Oh no. Well, I was just basically saying that. You just need to just go out there and make movies.
Yeah.
Don't be concerned about whether or not they're going to be good, because your first movies are probably not going to be good. But that's the only way you're going to learn filmmaking is by getting out there and figuring out that process.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was an absolute blessing to be welcomed onto the team, because I think I mentioned, I was in school at the time, in film school, and in the several months of pre-production where I just spent time sitting and talking with people like Jason and Eric, I learned more about filmmaking in the few months of pre-production than I did in 4 years of film school, which is a very sad comment on the education I received, I guess. But I mean, it was like it took a little bit of a leap of faith, just because there is this, here's all these really experienced people, and I'm just a kid. What if they're not going to want to work with me? But they really took a chance on me, and it was like the best thing that's ever happened to me.
I feel like that's a lot of professions. Like, you really, they tell you learn a lot in school, and then it's not until you actually get into the field that you really do learn stuff. I mean,
do the work. Yeah,
I'm an educator, and I mean, everything I learned in college really does not prepare one for being in the classroom with 20 screaming children all day.
Yeah. There's only so much you can get out of reading a book, but actually being there with the equipment or just on the front lines is a much different experience.
I mean, like what I was saying earlier with the readily available technology. I mean, I just recently saw the movie Tangerine, which was shot with an iPhone, and I was kind of blown away by this, just the perseverance, just to go out there. We're going to use the equipment that we have on us to go make something, because for us the history of Wicked Pixel has never been about are we shooting on the best format or equipment possible, because when you're working with very little, you have to work with what you got, and it became more about focusing on making sure you tell the best story possible, because the technology doesn't dictate the quality of the film, in my opinion, because I can enjoy a movie shot on a $300 budget as much as I can on a $100 million budget. Budget does not dictate quality. That's kind of my mantra, personal mantra, which fits perfectly into Wicked Pixel. But it's just, I found it just so exciting to watch this film. It was very unconventional. It's like shooting with an iPhone. What the fuck? But they did it, and it became a huge festival sensation.
Yeah, they didn't wait for permission.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Don't wait for permission. You have all the capabilities of getting out there and just making it. If you have a story that you want to tell, that's the thing. Do you have it? it becomes a lot easier if you actually have a drive to tell a story as opposed to, I don't know, trying to get laid or trying to make money off of making movies. Because it's like, I'll tell you, there's a lot of other ways to make money more efficiently than making movies. Yeah, man, if you got the drive, there's really, now's the time. God, I just wish I was Jackie's age at this, just seeing all this available technology and just being able to apply, everything I've learned over the years to, this new technology. Like, wow, this is so exciting.
Anyone can be a filmmaker.
Yeah, well, they can try.
Not that everyone should.
Yeah.
Anyone can.
But it's exciting that everyone can at least give it a shot. You
Yeah.
know, it's not like you have to raise several $100,000 to shoot Evil Dead or trying to work with complicated process that is actually shooting on motion picture film. Who cares if you're shooting on video? Just that stigma needs to. Well, it pretty much has gone away. I think because of HD being just as it's progressing in quality exponentially all the time. It's stunning what it can do. So it's just get out there and give it a shot and just try to learn from the mistakes that you will most likely make on the first time out.
Now, there's a debate that wages here. It will wage probably forever. And we like to get everyone's opinion on it, just to try and get more for our sides. And I just would like to know what is your opinion on hairless cats?
Hairless cats are awesome. I think they're better than cats with hair.
I probably would have better luck with them because I'm allergic to cats. So
I have a friend that has a hairless cat because her boyfriend's allergic to them, and they're adorable.
Oh well, then we get along things.
Yeah.
See, I think they're just like the
They're
most
really
adorable
expensive,
little things.
Yeah, Corey agrees with you guys. He thinks that they're real adorable. I don't dislike them, but whenever I see them, I think that
Austin Powers,
a little bit, but like I think of Jurassic Park, where they're like, should we have done this? Has science gone too far? Should man have done
We
this?
didn't stop to think of what was that line? We didn't stop to think. We instead of thinking if we could, we should have been thinking if we should, or something like
exactly. It's
Paul
like-
sees them and goes, "Oh, somebody shouldn't have fed their kitten after midnight."
Exactly.
And I'm like, "Please give me this gremlin so I can cuddle it." Like,
It's like, no, we've messed with the animals too much. They're gonna get mad and they're gonna rebel, and I'm warning everybody, it's gonna happen. We have it coming to us.
so when is in goddamn computer? When is In Memory of set to come out, and how will we be able to view it?
Well, it as we speak, it's in the I think final stages, the home stretch of editing. It's still got.
Eric's editing it right now.
Yeah, Eric's editing it right
The
now
room-
as we.
The room next door
Yeah.
to us.
So hopefully we'll be able to. There'll be some kinds of screenings at some festivals, hopefully later this year, before it does come out on Blu-ray. But everyone can go ahead and go to our web store at the Wicked Pixel Cinema homepage, wickedpixel.com, and pre-order that bad boy. So they'll be the first in line to get it when it does come out.
Very cool.
But I'm hoping, to get some. I would really like for us to get some good festival play.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's what we're kind of researching right now. But I definitely want to have some screenings in St. Louis because I want to see this bad boy up on the big screen. So we'll make that happen. And of course, any local screenings we have, we'd be putting that information out on Facebook and whatnot on our page. But that's the plan as far as I know it right now.
Sounds awesome. And where can we follow you guys to learn more about In Memory of, Wicked Pixels Cinema, and just any projects that you guys will be working on in the future?
Well, I say Wicked Pixel Cinema has a page on Facebook, so you can find us there. Of course, our website again is wickedpixel.com. We all have Twitter accounts.
I'm more of a Facebook person.
Jackie's
I
more-
still don't really understand the Twitter that much. It's kind of over my head, I think.
I don't think anybody really understands Twitter.
Yeah.
I have it, but I don't use it as
Yeah.
much as some people do. But
Yeah.
I mostly reside on Facebook.
there you have it, B-Movie fans, in memory of a film by Wicked Pixel Cinemas starring Jackie Kelly and Jason Christ. Jackie, Jason, thanks for joining us. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having us. It's been a pleasure.
So until next time, friends, be brave, be alive, be back for more.
If you have an independent film you're working on and would like to discuss it, you can email us at bmoviebros@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter at bmoviebros or my personal Twitter at bmoviepaul. Don't forget to listen to our podcast. We review a different B-movie each week. New episodes every Friday on our website, bmoviebros.com. If you have a movie you'd like us to review or any additional comments, feel free to leave a message below. This has been another B-Movie interview. We are the B-Movie Bros saying, be brave, be alive, and be back next time.
Jag råmar ner i skolan. Vart ser du?